Hello, BookTube. Alex here, the unabashed reader, and I thought I'm having my lunch, so I'll do a little bit of a BookTube update. It's currently absolutely lovely in Merseyside right now. The weather is shining, and as such, I'm inside working. You know how these things go. It's a pain, isn't it? Every time the weather's nice, everyone's stuck inside working. So yeah, I thought I might do a bit of a catch-up vid regarding this new BookTube event. This was created by Robin Song Sings. I think I butchered that. I think I have butchered. No, it's Robin Song Reads. that makes more sense for a BookTube channel now. Robin Song Sings sounds better. So yeah, Robin made this BookTube event called April Adventures, and it's only 3 prompts. Thanks, Robin. Good lad. The first prompt was to read an adventure book. The second prompt was to read something that you wouldn't usually read, so we'll read something outside your wheelhouse. And the third one was to have your own adventure. Basically, go outside. That's all it was. By yourself, with friends, with family, you know. So yeah, the first prompt, read an adventure book. I had plans to just absolutely smash this in, but I just didn't have time. So the one book I did pick was the Sex Lives of Cannibals. This is by J. Martin Troust, and you know it's a very serious, up my street kind of a book. This book is a travelogue book. This is very much sort of in the same vein as your Bill Bryson, your Will Ferguson, and what's that kid who wrote that book, Into the Wild? Was it? I can't remember the kid's name, but it's that kind of flavour of book. So this is about the author travelling from his home, where he couldn't find he couldn't work a normal job. You know, it wasn't in his wheelhouse to work a real job. So he buggers off and he goes to like a South Pacific island for a couple of years, and then he moves back to California. That's the entirety of this book. Now, the author had it in his head when he goes to this island that it's going to be do, and then he's going to be drinking from coconuts. But no. You had to deal with pollution, you had to deal with tropical diseases, nasty wildlife, crazy people. The stuff you might encounter on a desert island, in reality. So yeah, it's a good book. It's a good book, but I would say with this book, the author can be utterly unbearable sometimes. He's at the very start, he's like, I can't work a normal 9-to-5 job. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to move to a desert island for 2 years, and he's a bit unbearable towards the end when he goes back to California as well. He also assumes that the island it's past its prime. That the island had like a golden age before it became too tourist kind of, a tourist kind of gaff. I'm like, how do you know? You didn't share that history with us in this book, so I don't know. But there are some gems in this book. It can be funny. I'll give it that. And the author, when he first goes to the island, he's got that resentment saying, "Oh my God, what the hell have I got myself into here?" But after the time goes by, you can tell that he starts to warm to it really well, and he does have a love for the island, and that does shine through towards the latter half of the book. So I would recommend this book for anybody to read, especially if you're a travelogue kind of a reader. So yeah, that was my adventure book. So prompt 2 was read something that's not in your wheelhouse. So pick a genre that I don't really read, basically. So I don't read self-help, and I don't really read poetry. And out of them two, I will not read self-help, said Sam I Am. For those Dr. Seuss fans out there, I can't read self-help. So I picked poetry. To keep it in the same kind of theme of Robin's event here, I've picked up nature poetry. Now, I'm sure there's people out there who think the same with me towards poetry. There's a lot of poetry that is great and all that, but you come across some poems, you're like, do you know what? It's beautiful, beautiful prose, beautiful verse, but I haven't got a Scooby-Doo what you're talking about. You're like, so that's my only, like, that's the reason I don't really read poetry that much, because it drives me a bit up the wall. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about, but that's just me. So I read 3 volumes. One was, I've got the names in front of me somewhere. So yeah, we got 1,000 Mornings by Mary Olivia, and out of the 3 I read, that was the most of what I was talking about. But it's beautiful verse, but I have no idea what you're talking about. And then we had The Breath Between, which is by Bethany Lee, which I thought it was okay. I enjoyed that book. And then the third one, which I enjoyed the most, was A Space Between the Stones by Kai Seidenberg. I hope I'm saying that name right. And Kai is she's kind of like a guru, a nature guru, and you could tell that on some of the poems that she wrote. So what I'm going to do now is actually read a poem from each volume, see if you like the flavour of them. So this is from 1,000 Mornings. So this is one of the poems in there. So this poem is called In the Wilderness. The leaders we find it easy to follow, who stride ahead with certainty and power, are taking us to a land where we think we want to go. But those who walk with stumbling steps, slow and careful in the darkness, these accompany us into the promised land, to the place we already are, into the place that is already home. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Isn't that nice? That first line took me back a bit. The leaders we find it easy to follow. It's that it. Don't know why. The leaders we find it's easy to follow. It's great. It is it. The leaders we find. I'm showing you now. It's back to front. Can you read back to front, kids? So that was the first one. The next one is. Oh, I'm sorry, I got that. So that poem I read then was from The Breath Between by Bethany Lee. So this is the 1,000 Mornings by Mary Olivia, and this is what I was saying, that this was much more, what I consider highbrow poetry. But there are some good poems in this. So this one is For I Will Consider My Dog Percy. For I will consider my dog Percy, for he was made small but brave of heart. For if he met another dog, he would kiss her in kindness. For when he slept, he snored only a little. For he could be silly and noble in the same moment. For when he spoke, he remembered to trumpet, and when he scratched, he struck the floor like a drum. For he ate only the finest food and drank only the purest water. Yet he would nibble of dead fish also. For he came to me impaired and therefore certain of short life, yet thoroughly rejoiced each day. For he took his medicines without argument. For he played easily with the neighbourhood's bull mastiff. For when he came upon mud, he splashed through it. For he was an instrument for the children to learn benevolence upon. For he listened to poems as well as love talk. For when he sniffed, it was as if he was being pleased by every part of the world. For when he sickened, he rallied as many times as he could. For he was a mixture of gravity and waggery. For we humans can seek self-destructions in ways we never dreamed of. For he took actions both cunning and reckless, yet refused always to offer himself to be admonished. For his sadness through without words was understandable. For there was nothing sweeter than his peace when at rest. For there was nothing brisker than his life when in motion. for he was of the tribe of the wolf. For when I went away, he would watch for me at the window, for he loved me. For he suffered before I found him and never forgot it. For he loved Anne. For when he lay down to enter sleep, he did not argue about whether or not God made him. For he could fling himself upside down and laugh a true laugh. For he loved his friend Ricky. For he would dig holes in the sand and let Ricky lie in them. For often I see his shape in the clouds, and this is a continual blessing. Ah, there's nothing more lovely than having a pet dog. I've got a beagle, and it's sad when they get older. Ah, bless good Percy. And then the final one, A Space Between the Stones. And this is my favourite, as I said, and it is very much a nature themed poems. They come through. As I said, she's a guru. Okay, yeah. So this is Into the River. Arriving at the... Sorry, you might have saw a jump cut then. My phone switched off. So I believe I was reading a poem, wasn't I? So this is Into the River. Let's try this again. Arriving at the edge of the river, I shed unnecessary layers. Shoes and clothes, plans and goals, doubts and woes. Newly unburdened, I slip into the cool green water. Smooth stones cradle my bare feet. Flowing water, gentle caresses every inch of my animal body. Nothing separates me from cool water, warm sun, the sweetness of birdsong, the quiet peace of trees. Nothing separates me from myself. Oh, isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful? so they're the volumes of poetry that I read. And I thought, they were fairly decent. And I'm a noob when it comes to poetry, so I thought they were okay. And then the final prompt was to go on an adventure. So I hike all the time, and I'm a big runner as well, and I take the dog. I live fairly close to fields and woods and all that malarkey, so I do that on the regular. But I did something. I went somewhere that I've never been before. I didn't go abroad, nothing like that. I went to North Wales. Now, Wales, a lot of Wales is lovely. It is really, really nice. I went with my friends to a place called Tulaka. Tulaka is it's very working class. It's like the Blackpool of North Wales. The British people would be like, yeah, okay, yeah. But when you drive into Tulaka, you've got that lovely, you got the green fields of Wales and the mountains in the background and all that sweet Welsh stuff, which is great. So that's where I went, and when I'm talking, I'll be showing you some of the pictures of Wales as well. And we were at, we had a little camper van, whatever it was. But yeah, it was fantastic, and that was my adventure. And that was it, folks. Thanks, Robin, for the new event, mate, and I'll see you later, BookTube. Bye-bye.